a Chabad Chassid. This is in time, I think, of the Alter Rebbe. And a Chabad Chassid. And he used to be a teacher for this man. He used to, the way it was like this. There used to be a season when they would chop wood. They would chop wood in the forests. There was the season they would chop wood. And there was one Jew, a rich Jew, and he would move with his whole family to where they were chopping the wood, and he was the overseer, whatever it was. Anyway, and he had a young man come and teach his children. Exactly what the cause was in the beginning, but that's the general point. Okay, so this young Jewish man, a Chabad Chassid, he would come and teach the children of this Jew while they were chopping the wood or working in the lumber over there. And then when the time finished, he would go back to the Rebbe. Now, meantime, while he was there teaching the children, so he would teach the children a few hours of the day, and the rest of the time he would go and learn on his own. He would learn on his own. There was a synagogue, a shul nearby, and he would sit there and he would learn. Now, in the shul, there was an old Jew that was a great Talmud Chacham. He was tremendously wise. He had finished the Shas, the Talmud, several times, and he would sit and learn all day. And he was also he wasn't a Chassid, but he was a very nice person, had a very nice, pleasant personality, and he would help anybody that wanted any help, he would help. Well, one day he noticed this young man was sitting and learning. Young man, I don't know, maybe it was in his 20s, 30s. He said, come, we can learn together. They sat and they learned together, and he really enjoyed it. He learned with this young man, and the young man wasn't to the level of this older man, but he really knew how to learn, and it was pleasure to learn with someone, new ideas. So one day after they finished learning, they would learn into the night. One day after they finished learning, he noticed that this older man was very sort of sad. So he said, what are you sad about? The young man said, what are you sad about? He said, it's nothing. It's just really nothing. I don't. So, well, you can tell me. I mean, I think, you're much older than me, but I think we're friends. We made a good. He said, you're right, we're friends. So I want to tell you. He says, listen, I have big doubts about the existence of God. I have big doubts. The fact is, I know the whole Torah and I know everything and I'm really expert at it. But deep down, I have really serious doubts about the existence of God. And if all this is really right, Torah and the commandments and this, and who says it's really true? Really. So the young man said, listen, he started talking to him a little bit about Chassidus. He said, oh, this is wonderful. I have another question. And, is there reward and punishment? Another question. So the young man would answer as well as he could. And this went on for a week, 2 weeks. Finally, in the end of that time, the young man said, okay, now I've got to go. The older man was very, very sad. Well, I'm sorry, so sorry you're leaving. It was just such a pleasure to talk to you. I was just and I still have questions, but you showed me that there's at least a possibility. Maybe there's, what am I going to do now you're gone? I'm going to be alone. So the young man said, listen, why don't you put your questions? You're a very deep person. You know a lot of Torah. Why not put your questions in front of the Alter Rebbe? Come with me. So he said, okay. So they went together. The man got permission from his wife, whatever, and they went together, and they went to the Alter Rebbe. The holidays, I don't exactly know what happened. Anyway, he arranged that he would go alone into the Alter Rebbe. The man went into the Alter Rebbe. After a minute, he came out. He had all these questions he was going to ask, deep questions about it. After a minute, he came out, smiling, and he stayed there. And he became a Chassid. He started learning. So after a while, the younger man asked the older man, he said, can you tell me what happened by the Alter Rebbe? I'll tell you later. He sat and he learned for a long time. Finally, after a couple of months, he said, can you tell me what happened? He said, I'll tell you. He said, I went into the Rebbe. He said, I looked at him. It was like a man of God, like an angel. I was so startled. But still, the Rebbe said, you have questions? So I said, yes, I have questions. So the Rebbe said, did you ever hear of Abaya and Rabbah? Abaya and Rabbah, it's like, asking a person, Abaya and Rabbah, like, in Israel, asking a person, do you know where Jerusalem is? You know, in Israel, Abai and Rabbah is like anyone who learned the Gemara. Abai and Rabbah is like the whole bit, one of the most famous in the whole Gemara. It's everywhere. So he said, Abai and Rabbah. He said, of course I know Abai and Rabbah. He said, I'm sure that Abai and Rabbah had the same questions as you do. If it didn't bother them, it shouldn't bother you. He said, as soon as he said that, that's it, took away all my questions. In other words, yes, there's deep ideas, there's deep questions, there certainly is. But on the other hand, people have been dealing with these questions for thousands of years since the Torah was given. And that's the whole world it's a big question, right? The Jews have to stand against the whole world. Why did God do that? Moshe asked the question, Lama hayareo salam hazeh. Why did he do it? It's a question, but nevertheless, how did Reb Mendel Futter say? A question comes from the devil. It's a good thing. Questions are good. Judaism encourages questions, but you don't have to have the answers all the time. Judaism doesn't depend on the answers. Answer the question. Okay, my friends. Today we won't learn Basar V'Chalav because